Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. Excuse my chuckle. It's, I'm just reading through the stories that we have lined up for you today. And ladies and gentlemen, what a fun slew of stories that Ralph has put together for you. So before we get too far into it, welcome into the Computer America Show. I hope that you are doing well, you are having a fantastic week, and you are ready for some science and technology news. We have 4 amazing stories that we're going to talk about, and then a little bit extra. And everyone, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including the show notes, which will include links, articles, videos, pictures, anything and everything that you need for today's program. It will be in one simple place. Just remember computeramerica.com, and you can find everything there, because by the time that you hear this, the show notes will be up. Ralph is kind enough to provide them beforehand, and we tried to make those available to you when you hear this. So with that being said, let's just jump right in. And I've said his name a couple times before. Our science and tech trends correspondent, Mr. Ralph Bond, joins us every Friday to talk about amazing stories that you might have missed. And Ralph, welcome back onto Computer America. How have you been?
I'm doing great, and it's great to be back and in this insane news cycle that we're always living in. It is such a joy to do this show. But if you're brand new to Computer America, let's explain what Ben and I do every Friday. We look at 4 articles that show us key trends and developments in all things science and technology, including naturally almost every story has something to do with artificial intelligence. But we also look, of course, at robotics, medical technology, sustainable energy technology, transportation advances, agricultural tech, construction tech, space research, physics. You get the picture. Almost everything on the earth. But most important let me say that again. Most important of all, this is key. We're going to give you hope for a better future, thanks to amazing breakthroughs happening every single day in the world of science and technology.
Absolutely. And I think a great place to start to give everyone hope and look forward to the future. We're going to start with story number 1. What if every pixel that surrounded you was actually a camera? Hope and joy at the new breakthroughs in technology. So Ralph, let's talk about this. One's weird.
Yeah,
this one's weird.
This has one of the funniest subheads for a title that I've seen in a long time. But this comes from techradar.com. Headline: Researchers invent new type of pixel that could create displays that double as cameras. And the subhead's hilarious. And the internet's first thought is, what could go wrong?
Which
funny.
I think everyone in unison could say so much could go wrong. But, just like a lot of technology out there, there are always good applications and bad applications. They're just tools. But Ralph, you can't stop technology. So
this is so true. That's so true. And in the show notes, again, come out to computeramerica.com. The link to the article that I'm going to be referencing and the research paper for this is also, there's a link there for that as well, which is really, really cool. So again, comes from techradar.com. So let's get into this. Researchers at ETH Zurich, that's Switzerland's flagship science and technology university, have developed a revolutionary new type of pixel that can both display images and capture them at the same time. What? Okay. Traditionally, we all know, display pixels only emit light while camera pixels only detect light. This breakthrough combines both jobs into a single bidirectional pixel, potentially allowing future screens to double as cameras. Okay. Oh, well, there's no problem with that, right?
I you can see so many ethical issues, but obviously I'm sure they're going to come up with some use cases that are not so ethically fraught.
Well, yeah, and before we go on, the immediate thought I had was, even though this happens simultaneously and instantaneously and so forth, being being an emitter and a receiver at the same time, could you have a software layer that says, I want to opt out of the camera part for now? Oh, I want to opt into the camera part for now.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a possible solution. I have no idea if that would be applicable in this case or not, but that could be a solution to this issue. So the new technology called Fourier Pixel, I hope I'm saying that right, it's Fourier Pixel, is built using tiny nanostructures that manipulate light in sophisticated ways. Unlike ordinary pixels, it can both control and measure a light wave's brightness, direction, phase, and polarization. These advanced capabilities could eventually improve not only smartphones and laptops, but also holographic displays, optical communications, that's interesting, adaptive optics, and even quantum computing systems. How this applies to that is beyond my pay grade, to say the least.
I'm guessing just they're saying that because these things are built in, they can do the same thing that Pixels always did, but they also double as a source of information, not just a way to display information.
Right.
It could help really all forms of computing that you just have another data input source. So
Yeah. And Ben, the next nugget from this story really is indicative of what you and I do. Early research, laboratory trial stage, not available now. So again, the article says the invention is still at the laboratory stage. Current prototypes require laser light instead of normal ambient lighting and can only display fixed images rather than the moving graphics used on today's screens. But the researchers believe these limitations can be overcome with further development, but practical consumer products are still years away. So keep that in mind. Despite the exciting possibilities, many people online immediately raised privacy concerns. If every display could also function as a camera, it could take hidden surveillance much easier. So, okay. But again, if you had an opt-in, opt-out switch, that'd be cool.
So for everyone who really worries about privacy stuff, let me stoke those fears a little bit. So two of the stories that I always like to point people to, when it comes to technology and privacy, Ralph, one of them is Wi-Fi. So any home with a Wi-Fi, they're able to monitor those Wi-Fi signals, and based on the resistance that those Wi-Fi signals kind of get, Ralph, not only can they map out the floor plan of your home, pretty simple with just simply Wi-Fi signal, but they can even monitor, I think they did it in a real world setting, they can even monitor your heart rate of a person, not just the person's location, which they can do, but the heart rate of the person within a building and the breathing pattern, so they can identify a person within a building within a Wi-Fi signal. So something like that. And then the other one, Ralph, is they're able to point a laser at a window, and the vibration from someone talking, just in a normal voice, they can actually eavesdrop, listen into a room using a laser on a window that is otherwise totally invisible to the person.
This is amazing. Amazing, Ben. Yeah, I was going to say, as you were speaking, I was reminded of the hilarious movie called What About Bob with Bill Murray. And there's a scene where Bob tells the little boy in the family something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the little boy announces at dinner, "Oh, Bob has given me a whole new thing to be afraid of."
Absolutely. No, it's true. Technology is, it's all these things. They're more advanced than you think. But at the same time, Ralph, all of it has real good, ethical applications. So I'm hoping this one too. And like you said, very early research. So it's not, this one's not even out in the real world like the ones I mentioned. So sleep easy. Now, story number one. Story number two. Let's go ahead and go back to the show notes. And again, by the time that you hear this, the show notes are up. You can go ahead and follow along. So scrolling down, you'll see, well, what if AI can move your hand? And Ralph, this is a very interesting article. And once again, kind of goes back to that, is this a good idea department? And we'll get into that.
Yes.
But yeah.
That's true. So again, this comes from newswave.com. Headline again, as Ben just said, what if AI could move your hand? Students build a wearable device using AI and electric pulses. Sure, what could go wrong with this? We've got a link here. We've got some videos too. You can check out links for that as well. It's very, very interesting stuff. So, a team of software engineering students at, no surprise, Massachusetts Institute of Technology created a wearable device that uses artificial intelligence and small electrical pulses to guide a person's hand movements. The project, called Human Operator, was built in just 48 hours during the MIT Hard Mode 2026 hackathon, which was held in March earlier this year, and won the event's Learn Track Award. So pretty geeky stuff here. The system combines a head-mounted camera, an AI vision language model, and electrical muscle stimulation pads worn on the wrist and forearm, as you can see in the video if you're looking at the video portion of today's show. The camera lets the AI see the user's surroundings while also understanding spoken instructions. Then it decides what hand movement is needed and sends gentle electrical signals to the muscles, causing the hand or fingers to move the correct way. Wow, pretty cool. And the video is quite compelling.
The video is pretty funny where, they have a gentleman kind of wearing it, displaying it, and they're saying, AI, make me a rum and coke. And he is absentmindedly having a conversation while his arm seemingly is controlled by these gentle nudges from the apparatus that he's wearing so that it makes him a rum and coke while he can focus on, the conversation.
That's important.
Yes. Very. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So in demonstrations, the device helped users wave, play simple piano notes, and make hand gestures such as the OK sign. The students described the technology as a way for AI to briefly assist a person's movements, making it easier to learn new physical skills. Now, I think that's compelling. Or complete certain tasks. I think learning skills is really cool. Although the prototype is still experimental, the technology could have useful future applications in physical rehabilitation, physiotherapy, and skill training. So these could be potentially seriously useful technology to apply in the real world. Since electrical muscle stimulation is already used in some medical treatments, combining it with AI may eventually help people recover movement after injuries or receive guided physical assistance in everyday activities. Again, at first it seems sort of silly, sort of fun, like a game, but it could have potential real-world beneficial applications.
Yeah, I could definitely see a world where something like this, and obviously the pictures and the videos are pretty new, and I don't want to say they're like cumbersome or bad or anything like that, but if this were improved to be a glove, a sleeve, a leg sleeve or something like that,
right?
Just having this as an assisted tool for therapy, I could see that being hugely beneficial. So very cool and great for these these engineering students from MIT. Very impressive stuff. So story number 2, great, love it, and really a great way to it's like, hey, AI, knock out that guy, and it just punches for you. Something like that could be fun. Story number 2. Story number 3. Let's go ahead and talk about this. And Ralph, speaking of trends, I would say this falls into the same category of, let's see, we had a story a number of months ago, I think at this point, about pulling air from pulling water out of desert air, or creating ice out of nowhere. Just pulling moisture is really, important because, yeah, it's cool that it's in the air, but when you need a drink, you like it a little bit more accessible. So maybe story number 3 is a little bit like that.
Yeah, you're right. There is a worldwide, ongoing, multi-layered, multi-institutional mission to extract water from the air. There's desalination and that sort of stuff, but there's also this interest in the idea of getting water out of the air that surrounds us, even in the desert, which is remarkable. But this story comes from the University of Texas at Austin and their website. Wonderful announcement. Headline: This jacket pulls drinking water from thin air. Subhead: The advance in fabric technology comes alongside a new benchmark for atmospheric water harvesting. Wow. So researchers at the University of Texas at Austin have developed an experimental jacket that can pull drinking water directly from the air, offering a wearable solution for people in dry or remote environments. A little side note, and by the way, if you're new to the show, in the show notes, if you see blue text, these are little inserts I put in for my benefit or to make a comment. And in this case, this is kind of a potential add-on to the technology in the movie Dune. Where people wear specialized clothing called still suits that reclaim nearly all the water the body uses or loses, pardon me. And if you added this to the equation, hey, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much free humidity is on the sands of Arrakis, but it's it very is almost science fiction in concept.
Yes. So the jacket uses a special fabric made of biomass-based hydrogel fibers that absorb moisture from the atmosphere. Now, instead of simply trapping water, the fibers are designed with tiny open pores that help move the moisture through the fabric and into detachable collection units. That's the key here. So it's not just a sponge, it's actually a transport. What makes this technology stand out is efficiency. In outdoor testing across different humidity conditions, the jacket produced between 400 and 900 milliliters of drinkable water per day. That's roughly 14 to up to 30 ounces. And that's a little less than 1 liter bottle. Say, for example, if you had a liter bottle of soda pop. So we're talking about at the best performance, you get about a bottle of that size. That's pretty cool. And that's enough just to... Yeah.
I was just about to say, according to AI, if you can trust AI on human survival rates, about 16 ounces is like the minimal needed to survive. So
there you go.
In a survival situation, pretty good.
Yeah. No, this is actually pretty significant. And it goes on to say that's enough to significantly help with hydration, as Ben was just alluding to. And it's reported to be 3 to 10 times more effective than many existing atmospheric water harvesting materials of a similar size. And the system works by using sunlight as the energy source, not something exotic, no carry-around battery. Nope. Sunlight. Once the detachable water units are full, they can be heated in a small foldable collector, releasing the stored moisture as liquid water. This avoids bulky refrigeration systems, making it lighter and more practical for field use. Wow, pretty cool.
I have so many, possible applications for this. Mm-hmm. It's just, how there, a lot of questions for durability, for reusability, longevity. I'm super curious, but the promise is totally, inspiring. Yeah.
It absolutely is. The researchers see potential uses for hikers, soldiers, emergency responders, and communities facing water shortages. And beyond jackets, the same fabric could be used in tents. Imagine that, tents, backpacks, and shelters, turning everyday gear into portable water sources. Okay, great stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of water in the air. It's just, actually condensing it and getting it out. And this seems like a very effective way to do that with these new materials. So very cool stuff. And, tents for disaster zones makes perfect sense. So story number 3, amazing stuff. Although I hope it comes in different colors. Very drab. That's okay. The researchers can work on the colors later. Story number 3, great. Story number 4. This is our last story that we're going to do on the regular show today. And yeah, Ralph, let's talk about story number 4.
Yeah, and if you're new to the show, usually our last story is medical technology related, and this certainly fits the bill here. Coming from Duke University, Pratt School of Engineering. Lab-grown retinal cells show promise for new eye therapies, and the subhead, critical cells that line retinal blood vessels grown from stem cells restore retinal function in mouse models, thank you mice again, and form retinal tissue in a lab for future disease studies. Mouthful, but very, very important.
Yep, and as you always say, thank you, mice. It's doing it in mice models is a huge step forward to doing it in humans. So
yes,
impressive.
Absolutely. And again, in the show notes, we have a link to the research paper as well as Duke University's news announcement. So researchers at Duke University in North Carolina have achieved an important milestone by creating specialized endothelial, boy, I hope I'm saying that right, endothelial cells, the cells that form the tiny blood vessels of the retina, from human-induced pluripotent stem cells. Okay, this is geeky stuff, folks. Don't profess to fully understand it.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard to understand. You're going to do your best, but ladies and gentlemen, as always, if any of this doesn't sound right, it's like, we didn't say that just right, or that doesn't make a lot of sense. Come on out to the show notes and read it for yourself. I promise.
There you go.
It is difficult. It is difficult.
Sometimes it is tongue twisters. So these stem cells are created by reprogramming adult cells, such as skin or blood cells, so they can develop into many different cell types. Until now, scientists have been unable to reliably produce these highly specialized retinal blood vessel cells in the lab. The retina depends on these endothelial cells to deliver oxygen and nutrients while maintaining the blood-retina barrier, which protects delicate eye tissue. Damage to these cells contributes to serious vision-threatening diseases, including diabetic retinopathy and age-related macular degeneration. Okay, the Duke team tested the lab-grown cells in mice with retinal disease. After being injected into damaged eyes, the cells integrated into existing tissue, helped rebuild healthy blood vessels, and improved retinal function. Amazing.
Very cool stuff. Yeah, two things that, when I think of like macular degeneration, these are things that are not really reversible. But yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah. The researchers also demonstrated that the cells could organize into realistic retinal vascular tissue in the laboratory, providing a valuable model for studying eye diseases and testing new drugs without relying as heavily on animal experiments. So animal lovers, this is for you. Although the work is still in the early research stage and has not yet been tested in humans, it represents a promising step toward future regenerative treatments for blindness. The team believes the new technique could eventually provide a reliable source for retinal cells for repairing damaged eyes, while screening potential medications and better understanding how retinal diseases develop. And to wrap it up here, the researchers are now pursuing patents and industry partnerships to help advance the technology toward future clinical trials and potential therapy. So once again, early research, but very interesting, very promising.
It's always one of those situations where, these diseases that, people may get and there's no real treatment or cure for them. Ralph, it's like if you have something that could potentially give people their vision back, and, I'm sure you're going to have many willing participants into these clinical trials if they are lucky enough to get into them. Because, there's really no other option. So it's some hope on the future for these diseases. So there you go.
There it is.
Really amazing stuff. Story number 4, great medical news. Always a great way to kind of wrap up the show. Really enjoy doing that. And everyone, we hope that our show has helped you this Friday to kind of see that, hey, there are some good stories out there. It's just they don't get as much play as I think some of the scary ones. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are following along in the show notes, we're not quite done. So these are honorable mentions. We have 4 more stories that you can go to the show notes over at Computer America, scroll down to the bottom, and these are stories that if we had time, we would totally cover, but we just don't. So instead, Ralph's going to give the headlines and the sources, and you can go out to the website, find links, read more, check these out. And in the meantime, let's just have Ralph kind of go over them so you know what to expect.
There you go. So this week we have 4 honorable mentions. This one comes from digitaltrends.com. Cambridge experts find utterly simple fix for longer lasting EV batteries. Just put some pressure on it. Scientists found a way to make EV batteries last longer without reinventing the battery. Check it out. This is so cool if you're interested in battery technology, which Ben and I are addicted to. So the next one comes from Forbes magazine. Headline, how biology inspired a former surgeon to rethink robotics. And again, if you're longtime listeners to the show or viewers, you know that we are so interested in the idea of nature inspiring technology. And this is a good example in that story from Forbes. So let's go on down to the next one here. From one of my favorite go-to sites, interestingengineering.com. Headline: MIT's 6 milliwatt chip lets tiny drones see and map their surroundings in real time. Subhead: new MIT chip enables tiny drones and robots to create detailed 3D maps while using minimal power. Wow. Okay. This is a world of drones. Everything drone, especially in warfare. And so, but this is pretty interesting stuff.
It's drones and just computers, not just, kind of doing a simple program, but actually seeing their surroundings in real time and interacting with their surroundings. That's probably the trend that, you can kind of look at.
Yeah. And our last honorable mention for this week is medical technology related. And Ben and I have tracked so many stories about prosthetics, technology for prosthetics. This fits nicely in here. This comes from SciPost on MSN.com. Headline: magnetic muscle implants help amputees feel coordinated prosthetic hand movements. There's so much research. People with missing limbs and so on and so forth. There's so much great technology happening in that world, and so much hope and promise.
Absolutely. Just where prosthetics aren't just, a simple dummy replacement, but instead are actually an extension of the person and, helping them feel whole. So everyone, hey, we hope Computer America made you feel a little whole today, and we hope that everyone enjoyed the program. As always, I want to thank Ralph for putting this together every week. He joins us every Friday to talk about these amazing stories that, over the course of the week, we don't really get to, but we are happy that we do before we head out for the weekend. So because it is the weekend, do something fun, have a good time, and catch us back here next time. Although, by the time that you hear this story, the following Friday, not every Friday, the following Friday, we're not going to be here. But then the following Friday after that, so the 14th, if I'm not mistaken, of August, we will not be here. And you can hear Ralph once again on the 21st of August. So everyone, have a great extended time. And until next time, have a great one. See you next time. Bye, everyone.